Over the past few months, ABC7 San Francisco has been delivering a newscast series called Building a Better Bay Area. It has spurred numerous conversations among me and my friends, and I thought to myself, why not continue this conversation online and get you guys' input on what can build a Bay Area? In this episode, the news team travels along with the San Francisco Police Department to try to get a better understanding of the drug problem in San Francisco. Let's take a look at it and discuss.
Building a better Bay Area means ending rampant drug dealing and drug use in San Francisco's Tenderloin.
More than 6 months ago, San Francisco police received a directive from the mayor to start making more drug-related arrests, targeting both drug dealers and users.
That's right. ABC7 News reporter Leanne Melendez is here with the latest numbers and the impact these arrests are having.
So this is, as they say, a bit of a conundrum.
Okay.
Because the number of arrests for both drug dealers and users doubled. Yet this year, San Francisco will have more accidental overdoses than any other year.
Okay. You cannot judge the successfulness of the program by the number of people who die from drug overdoses, because you can make more arrests and you can do more things. You have more activity. The result of that may be better, but the deaths may go up because the number of users is also up. But is the goal to limit death, or is the goal to better the lives and build a better San Francisco? Because in this case, these two things may not be the same. You say, well, there's San Francisco and more of them are dying, so we can't have a better society. You can have a better society by having a cleaner street that more people can participate, live in, and feel safe in. But we'll talk about the metrics today. Let's see what else happens.
So here's the explanation we received from both health officials and police.
ABC7 News was invited to follow plainclothes officers during one of many drug surveillance operations in the two neighborhoods where drug dealing is rampant.
All right, not yet, but you guys just come eastbound mission.
We have people who are observing the actions of this suspect, and we're going to try to move in and make an arrest at this time.
This last year, 2023, police arrested 960 suspected dealers in the Tenderloin neighborhood alone, compared to 566 the previous year, 2022. We were there for one of them.
Let me ask you what went down here.
So we're doing a narcotics surveillance operation where we set up one officer watching the area. They observe what they believe to be a suspected hand-to-hand narcotics transaction. Then they radio us in the arrest team. They give us a description, a detailed physical description of the person. They tell us where they're at. As the arrest team, we move in and we place the person under arrest. And then we wait for the officer that saw the observation. We wait for them to come over here, and then they conduct a search.
Because he has not been convicted, we are not showing his face. Police find several stashes in his backpack of what they believe is crack cocaine. Most officers here are certified Spanish speakers.
Where is he from?
Jared, let me see. So he has a Honduran passport.
So he's from Honduras.
Yeah.
Okay, so the drug dealer in this case, or suspected drug dealer in this case, is from Honduras. Now, they made it a point to say that most of these agents actually speak Spanish. As someone who has been to San Francisco many times and spent lots of time in San Francisco, the actual native population of Spanish-speaking San Franciscans is down. So this emphasis must be for a different reason.
A lot of people from dealing drugs from Honduras?
Very, very many, yeah.
Drug sales, property crime.
One of the arguments made by the former district attorney was that many dealers were immigrants from Honduras who had been illegally trafficked to the United States. In court, many still use that as part of their defense, but that's not what officers say they hear on the streets.
Do many people say that they're here because they fear for the lives of their families in Honduras? They've been threatened?
From my experience, we're not really ever.
I'm going to let this section of it run a little bit, but I think it's very important to point out one important thing. Are you telling me, you know, we're kind of being led to believe here that the migrant crisis at the border is fueling part of the drug problem in San Francisco? I know people think everyone is like free love San Francisco, do as much drugs as you want. That's not actually the case. People do really care and try to reach out and help people who are on drugs in San Francisco. But, I think until this episode, to this actual news episode, I would have assumed there was black people selling drugs or at least white people selling drugs. I would have never guessed that there was people from Honduras coming to sell drugs. So I want to get this straight. We have the drug cartels coyoting or trafficking humans to the United States through the border that's just pretty much open at this point. And then ICE may or may not catch and release the people into the United States. And some of these people are showing up in San Francisco selling drugs? Come on, man. Come on. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, let's see what else.
Really told that they're here to send money back home, not because they're victims of human trafficking or anything like that.
The suspected dealer gave police a different name from that on his passport, which he happens to have with him. He had been arrested before using a false name. Police told us half of the suspects arrested for the sale of drugs were either on probation, pre-trial release, or had active stay-away orders. This despite requests made in court by the current DA to keep them in custody.
We're explaining that many of them have been arrested not once, not twice, even 3 times for dealing fentanyl in our city. And these judges are not taking it seriously. They're allowing the courthouse to be a revolving door.
The number of drug users in the Tenderloin arrested in 2023 nearly doubled from the previous year. So how is it that the city will have the deadliest year on record for accidental drug overdoses with 752 through November 2023? Health department officials have tried to make sense of this disparity by explaining that arresting someone and forcing them into treatment often backfires.
Okay. Before we get to this argument, because I think I want to kind of chime in on the other part. We have to do more to keep known drug dealers off the street, irregardless of their immigration status. Okay, this is not a political issue. This is a moral issue. Okay, so if you're allowing people to sell drugs and be released, more likely to be released because they are, from Honduras than if they were from Oakland, then you're wrong. And see, this is the same racism of low expectations. You don't have to sell drugs on the street of San Francisco because you came into my country illegally. That doesn't make any sense, right? So if they came in illegally, yes, they may owe the drug cartels money, but they're making a free will choice to sell drugs in San Francisco. And they're selling crack. They're selling fentanyl. They're selling all kinds of crap. And this is where you have to draw the line. So it's amazing to me that they are arresting these people and then releasing them when they are here illegally. Or if you say, well, they're undocumented, they're asylum seekers. If you're here to seek asylum and you commit a crime, you should be deported. It's just simple as that. That's just simple. If you are selling drugs, if you are attacking police officers, we'll get to that. If you are committing murder, if you are doing any of those things, you need to be on a one-way ticket back to where you came from. But I may argue after you've actually served some jail time. Because sometimes before this whole, whatever we're doing now, in California, we would release them and send them back to their country only for them to show up back here committing more crimes. So listen, let them serve some time first. Let them serve some time, then send them back to their country. Okay? Because If you cannot be seeking asylum and terrorizing our citizens. You cannot be seeking asylum and breaking our laws. If you can't follow the law, you can't stay in America when you're not an American citizen and you do not have a right to be here.
In fact, their risk of overdose sometimes sort of paradoxically goes up. We've said you can't use, you may not, and created a situation where they're not using opioids. Their tolerance goes down, and a relapse can be deadly.
It just shows how much of a battle this is with trying to keep people alive, and people are still going to continue to use.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it there. However, I will encourage you to go and look at the rest of this episode. The reality is that is it our responsibility to keep drug dealers alive or keep drug users alive? Or is it our responsibility to make sure people are able to balance what's right and what's wrong by enforcing the law? Okay. Now, I can't keep a person alive no more than you can. If someone wants to kill themselves, they're going to kill themselves. But by not prosecuting them or by not giving them treatment, you will lead to the same path. So this argument that their tolerance will be lower, true. If you're not using drugs, your tolerance for drugs is lower. Then you could relapse and you could die. But you could also die by never getting clean. So the idea that you're getting clean, giving yourself a chance, but then if that chance doesn't work out, you could end up killing yourself. Listen, like they say, you damn if you do, you dang if you don't. You dang if you do, you dang if you don't. Okay? But the reality is that if we want to have a Bay Area that we all can participate in, we can't have open crack smoking out on the street. That's just not reasonable. Okay, we can't have this type of criminality on the streets of San Francisco. How can you have a family in San Francisco? How can you even have a life if you have to walk over drug users to get to work? If you have to, your children have to walk past people smoking crack on their way home from school. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous and intolerable. So I think we should demand of our representatives and our leaders a better Bay Area. And that includes one that we would want to live in. The Bay Area is a very beautiful place. It's completely dirty. The roads are horrible. The crime is ridiculous, right? And the taxes are even more ridiculous. But the question is, how do we get the response we need? Anyway, I can't wait to hear what you guys say in the comments. So listen, shoot me a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you think we should be deporting drug dealers from Honduras, or you believe that we should be a little more tolerant of their situation. Hey, you know where I stand. Talk to you soon.